Hey everybody, what's up? It's the boy GQ, and I'm here with Boulevard, and we are live from the bench.
We are live from the bench.
We just experienced one of the best days that has ever dayed in the history of football. It's just one of the most. It's like the second most important day of the year each football season. It's like the best thing before the Super Bowl ever occurs. It used to be the Pro Bowl. Now it's today.
Pro Bowl ain't never been good.
Black Monday. I love Black Monday. Black Monday is just so fun to me, and it's so messed up because I shouldn't be that happy about Black Monday to see a bunch of grown men lose their jobs, but then I have to wake up because it's a bunch of millionaires that's not losing much money. They're just losing jobs. So
Yeah,
I don't really care.
they all bounce back. Seem as the coaches seem to rotate around the league, be it college or pro or the other assorted leagues they got out there now. So there's always another job.
Yeah,
They won't be
my salary
struggling.
an hour.
They just won't make $6 million a year to run a franchise into the ground, because when you're getting paid like that, you're getting paid to succeed at your job, not fail. That's why you're on the chopping block today. That's why we just made a caption for you for losing your job.
Yeah,
you don't deserve it.
Yeah, like and my thing was like, because I'm still baffled. Robert Saleh, when they fired Robert Saleh, they had a whole graphic about how much money he was still going to make, even though he wasn't working there anymore. It's like the dude was making my annual salary in an hour. So,
yeah, those poor millionaires losing their jobs. Poor guys. Millionaires. So sad for you.
But what are the things that
poor people, poor things? You poor things.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I want to run down the guys that were fired.
Okay.
We saw Robert Saleh was first.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if it was Dennis Allen or Eberflus, but those guys both were fired, alongside Doug Peterson and Jerod Mayo, who were both announced that they returned today.
Allen was fired earlier in the season. Eberflus was fired in week 13.
Okay, so I think I got the order correct. I think. I don't know, but my first question is: these guys were fired. Out of each guy, I want to go. We could break down each guy. Which one of the five? I mean, let's start with Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, what do you think caused his termination?
I'd say that shitty ass offense. I mean, I know he was the starting guy, but there was the whole thing with them hiring Rodgers' boy, that one guy, Hackett. Was it Hackett?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all know he's trash as a coach, so that didn't help Saleh. I mean, the defense could have shown more improvement this season than they had. But, I mean, the thing that I didn't think Saleh, I thought Saleh deserved a chance to ride the season out. I mean, y'all made him go through last season losing his quarterback and all that. And you gave him, you gave him a pass for that one, but it wasn't all on him. Then he comes back. Now you got to deal with all the Aaron Rodgers bullshit on top of trying to run a team. So you hire his boy, his boy's a fucking trash coach. You know he's a declining quarterback. So I mean, it was the offense, which had pieces all over the place everywhere but quarterback, was going to regress because they had an old regressing quarterback. That was the wrong plan from the jump for bringing Rodgers. Most people agree. But the thing was, when they fired Saleh, Woody Johnson said, "This change I made today, I believe, will bring new energy and positivity that will lead to more wins starting now." They were 2-3 when he got fired. They won 4 games all season. So it did not bring more wins. They were better off with what they had. But Jets are going to jet. When you got teenagers in meetings with coaches and staff making decisions, you know it's falling apart. So I feel like politics, fucked up Salah's future and with the Jets, and by them letting him go when they did him a favor. So I ain't even mad about Salah no more. I feel like he's going to be better off wherever he goes, and whoever ends up with the Jets is going to take up
interviews.
Yeah, your back's against the wall already. You've got all those weapons, but you're still screwed. You're still going to fail because you're taking a job with a cursed franchise. So
yeah,
good luck to any sucker who takes that job, I guess.
Yeah, Robert's already got interviews lined up already.
Yeah, of course.
Did Robert Saleh deserve more time, or did he deserve to be fired?
He deserved to finish out the season. Come what may with that, he deserved a chance.
Okay.
I mean, unless the team is completely turned on you, or it's just like you just can't get anything out of them. There's no motivation. Like you're just bad at your job. You can't. Then just ride it out.
I don't think the team.
Otherwise, you've given up the season overall the moment you fire a coach.
Yeah, and I think because a lot of players expressed it, a lot of guys didn't feel like it wasn't the locker room gave up on Robert Saleh. I felt like Aaron Rodgers was just like, I'm your show pony, and the show pony doesn't like him. And because we know Garrett Wilson, he expressed his frustration when Robert Saleh was fired. He was like, "What?" So yeah.
And also, from what I understand, I believe this is the one. Woody Johnson, the owner, didn't talk to anyone about it beforehand. He just went in and made the decision on his own. That's the sort of thing that a fucked up franchise does. A franchise that's not going to get anywhere. When your owner is just making moves on a whim out of emotion, you ain't going nowhere. There ain't gonna be no comfort in that locker room. There ain't gonna be no comfort on that staff in the meetings or none of that shit. Because your owner doesn't trust the staff to do their job to the point where he throws himself out there and goes out and fires a coach without telling anyone else and expects them to be all right. Like you just threw the captain off the ship. How's it going to stay upright? Like how you going to stay afloat? Woody Johnson did that. Because owners need to stay in their box. Okay, because owners don't know the sport. They just knew that they could invest their money in it. They could go out and buy a team with their friends and go to games. They don't know how to run an actual sports franchise. That's why Jerry Jones is fucked. And he won't make the fucking change. Woody Johnson should have learned from dude's mistakes, since they've both been in the fucking league for years. We just should have figured out like, damn, maybe I should let the coaches coach. I should let the GM generally manage. I should let the CEO be the chief executive. I should let these people that I hired to do these jobs, but not Woody Johnson. No, him and his kids make the fucking decisions. And that's why they're going to stay in the fucking tank. They did Robert Saleh a favor.
Awesome. Next guy on the list.
Aaron Rodgers on it. And you still got Rodgers, you still got his boy, but you think that getting rid of the head coach, the guy who runs the defense, is going to lead to more energy and positivity and more wins. The defense was the highlight. The defense was the actual good part. You were relying on an old man to make the offense look good. At times he did, but for the most part, no. But you fired the wrong fucking person. And whoever they hired will be again fired in 3 years. Be that Todd Monken, Ben Johnson, whoever, gone. 3 years or less. Because that franchise is a trash franchise. They don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. Bad hires, bad signings. That's not Saleh. That's Johnson. That's whoever the GM is. I can't remember offhand. But
Joe Douglas.
Their jobs are intact. His job is intact. But he bought the groceries.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Saleh didn't deserve to get fired, though.
I agree with you. Next on my list is Dennis Allen. So I'm gonna speak on Dennis Allen. I felt like Dennis Allen should have been fired already. him not being fired like last season, I knew it was going to be a problem. With the fact that Jameis Winston, like the fact that they didn't bring back that Jameis Winston was was a problem for me because the rest of the year, like when you bench Derek Carr, you need a dominant enough backup, and you didn't have a guy because you let Jameis Winston walk. You tried to turn it over to Taysom Hill, that other guy, and Spencer Rattler. Yeah. And it didn't work out for you. And then you saw Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston almost made the Browns look competitive, which is crazy to say.
Well, every game he's involved in, he's entertaining to say, like, definitely.
Yeah, he put energy in that team. So
maybe the Jets should have had him because they were looking for more energy and positivity. They probably should have had him.
But I was never a fan of Dennis Allen being hired. So, well, he wasn't actually hired. That's something I wanted to get at is like when Sean Payton retired, he basically was like, "Hey, Dennis Allen's going to be my successor." And first off, as a owner organization, you're not picking your successor. I don't care how much you've done for this organization. You're not going to leave us and then expect us to just go dog shit right after you. Like, you're leaving us in the dirt, and we don't trust Dennis Allen. Like, Dennis Allen failed as a head coach when he tried in Miami. I believe he was in Miami, his head coach in Miami. It was just bad for the Dolphins. Like, he wasn't good then. And I didn't expect them to be good now. Like, when I saw his name, I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. I thought he was going to be fired. I felt like he deserved to be fired. I didn't think he deserved more time than he got. I think they gave him too much time to fuck up what Drew Brees left them, because it wasn't Sean Payton. It was what Drew Brees left them. They fucked it up because they had all the weapons. They just refused to bring anybody in. They refused to bring somebody in to develop. You thought you put it on Derek Carr, the guy that the Raiders didn't want. That should tell you a lot. They replaced Derek Carr with who was that? I can't think of it offhand. But
Jimmy G, Aiden O'Connell,
him too. They thought that he was a better pick than Derek Carr. I wouldn't have. Dennis Allen should have been fired. There's no way. And whoever the GM there is should be fired too.
The defenses have been good the past 4 years in New Orleans. It's the offense that's been a problem. They brought in Kubiak to kind of save it in the first couple games. Yeah, It looked good.
Yeah,
but then it went back to normal. Injuries and all of that. There was a lot of bad luck involved.
So maybe Dennis Allen should have stayed the defensive coordinator and not become the offensive coordinator, because that's
no, it was the offense. Whoever was running the offense before this year fucking sucked.
I agree.
I mean, you had the weapons. You just couldn't win with it. They gave you the defense and win with it.
Yeah. So I think
it's not all on Allen. Allen couldn't get his team to the playoffs. Like, he couldn't get them to the play. He couldn't get them over the hump. So they gave him enough time, and he couldn't get them where the owner saw you needed to go. They were actually fair with Allen. They were actually more than fair with Allen because, like you said, they gave him an extra year even. So
yeah,
you can't be mad at New Orleans for making this change. It was inevitable.
Oh, absolutely not.
Because either
this was something
he was going to get the ball rolling on offense with Kubiak, or he had to go. Like, it just was his last shot, basically. If he couldn't do it this year, he was gone. So
I think one of the issues with them was, and I think this is something that I always get weirded out by, whenever you have a defensive coordinator that's really good, or a defensive play caller, like the person that calls your defensive plays, when defense is really good and you take that person out of that position, and you have somebody else calling defensive plays, and you put that person that was calling the good defensive plays. It's the same way when you have like a good position coach and you promote that position coach. So now that position's going to start to like decline, like Carson Welch with the Eagles receivers. Like he was a solid wide receivers coach. They made him offensive coordinator. Offense and the receivers declined. I felt like when they moved Dennis Allen into a position that's he's not good at, essentially as a head coach, like the defense was gonna. I mean, they were solid enough, but I think they probably should have went more offensive focus. You stick with what was working when Sean Payton was here. Like if offense was working, stick to being an offensive minded team and get an offensive minded head coach that can get the ball rolling. You bring Dennis Allen, that's like a complete shift of your team's
But that's
mentality.
that's who he chose.
And that was, I feel like he was setting them up for failure. I think that's weird.
You would say a coach would actually be trying to set a team up for failure.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man.
How do you run a team? How do you work in an office for a team? Like your whole thing is sabotage. You want everybody to fail. And he's like, you can't have a bad season or you're gone. I mean, this man went 18-24. You're acting like he was fucking Rich Kotite. He wasn't that bad.
He shouldn't. Well, if he was 18-24, looking at that record, if you go by his record alone, 18-24, I wouldn't have fired him. Looking at 18-24, I probably would have gave him. I probably would have let him finish the season. He's probably another guy. I probably would have let him finish the year.
Like I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, injuries fucked this season up for this team. Like they lost everybody at one point or another. So yeah, I mean, if you can give Robert Saleh a pass when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, you could give Dennis Allen a pass because it's not like next year this team's going to take some huge leap under Spencer Rattler. So you could have kept the status quo and continued to build through the draft and free agency because I mean you're right there. Bringing in another coach at this point after this guy has spent the years building it back up after Peyton left.
Absolutely.
Now you're basically starting over again. It's like, and like you just brought in a great OC. Now he's leaving again, obviously, because they're not going to keep him with a new staff coming in. So you're resetting the offense again, which was the problem to begin with. So you fucked up the defense by taking away the guy who was keeping them consistent. And the offense has been bad, but you brought in a guy that was going to fix that. And injuries fucked up the season. So now you won't even know what could have become of that. That could have worked. But the world will never know. So
I'll just put my disclaimer out there. I don't know what my obsession is with sabotage. It's just a problem I have. I just got this negative thought in my mind. Every team in the organization in the league is sabotaging each other.
You play too much Madden. That's what the issue is. Madden players who firing coaches all willy-nilly. Firing coaches, stopping players. Like, no.
I do that quite a bit.
You should do
that. All right, now
favorite
coach. I think this next coach we're probably both going to agree with. Matt Eberflus.
Yes.
Yeah, I hated this guy. Like this guy, I hated him. First, I hated him based on his look alone. He just looked like he didn't know what the hell he was doing. He just had a face. I wouldn't say he had a punchable face because he just looked like he was a young geriatric. Like he has the face of a young geriatric person. So I was just like, he can't run a team. And maybe he might have been a successful OC in Indianapolis. I'm not really sure. I don't really know his background too much. But he came to Chicago, and Chicago was just, I don't know. It was just like you possibly had a solid quarterback with Justin Fields. Like we didn't get a chance to really know what they had there because they didn't put the weapons around him. And then when they finally put the weapons around him, they was like, bye. And like when we had that meeting, we had that discussion with that episode where we talked about how they completely tried to defame him, or in a sense, it was just like
the slander,
the slander campaign.
Yeah.
and was just like, I hated that because you're doing like, and you didn't give him the weapons, and when you finally brought the weapons and you got rid of them, all for the satisfaction of Caleb Williams. Now Caleb Williams struggled with that to actually get you to where you want to get to, and now, and I don't even know if the record improved that much from last year, and now I'm thinking to myself like, it wasn't the quarterback. And I've been trying to say that all year. It's not the quarterback.
Not the quarterback. No.
Yeah, it's 100% the organization.
Theirs. And they won
5
games this season, and they won 7. Wait, no, they won 5 games this season and won 7 last year. Yeah, 7-10 last season.
So it's just like, it's 100% the organization, and I feel like I'm happy Eberflus. I hate to say that I'm happy, but I'm happy Eberflus was fired, because it's not, we can't do much about Caleb Williams being in this position. All we can do is just hope that there's some positivity. Now, what I did hear is about Ben Johnson they were heavily interviewing him, but he said, from what I hear, I'm not sure if it's like legitimate or not, Ben Johnson's camp, whoever is like on his team, they want Ryan Poles gone in order for Ben Johnson to take the position there.
Like, check this. This is what I got on Eberflus: 14-32. Okay, 5-19 in one-score games, 3-19 on the road. So he couldn't win. He couldn't. His team. He couldn't win. They weren't. He wasn't a winner. He couldn't get these players over the hump. He couldn't get them to learn how to win. He couldn't teach them how to win. No, he's not a good. Eberflus is not a good coach. Period. Like, you can't blame Justin Fields, because it was never just Justin Fields. Like you said, they never gave him weapons. I mean, they went out. What was their best move before they picked up DJ Moore? That Khalil Mack trade that was like 2 years earlier and didn't work out the best for them. I mean, he got his numbers, but it wasn't like game changer. So they haven't made the moves necessary to lead the victory. Players don't want to go to Chicago because players don't want to play in the fucking cold for a bad franchise. Like, the history of this franchise is failure. It's a cursed franchise, kind of like the Jets, but 10 times worse. Like, if you look at the fucking hierarchy of it, you see like a 118-year-old woman at the top. Okay, she don't know what the hell she's doing. She don't even know where she's at any given moment. So that's where it all trickles down from. Some fucking senile old great-grandmother who was only there because her husband's family owned the damn team. Right, so you're getting ineptitude from the top down. So they're hiring fucking idiots, and those idiots are hiring idiots. So you get what you give. Yeah,
and that's always been like, and I've been wondering this for a little while now, because I seen that they had and this has nothing to do with it being a woman owner sitting in that position. There's nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with.
I guess she's his daughter. She's Hallis's daughter. Okay.
Yeah. So it has nothing to do, like, my opinion on it. It has nothing to do with the fact that it is a woman running the business. It's not that. It's 100% like non-football people trying to run a football organization. Because I understand from the business side, you may have the knowledge, but when you're running a football, there's 2 sides to it. So you need to stick to your side and actually hire football-minded people to run the football side of the business. Because when you got people like the lady from the Titans, she was more preoccupied with stopping the Texans from wearing the Oilers uniform than getting a good quarterback for this organization. Like, and that is because she wanted to hold on to what the Buddy Ryan or whoever it was, that whole stuff from the back in the Earl Campbell days. I don't know. I don't know who it was that was running the team back when they were in the Oilers. But that's what she was like. She just like so determined to not let the Texans. I know your wheels are turning. You're trying to
Phillips.
Him. Yeah, him. Phillips. I knew it was something. It was Wade Phillips's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was so hell bent on the Texans not getting to wear the Oilers uniform that she did not have intention on getting the team a solid quarterback, bringing in solid players. And that's a distraction because if you're more worried about this, you're not bringing in good people to run the team. This is like the third GM that you guys had in like the past 4 years. I don't know. It might not be accurate, but I know they just fired the GM 2 years ago, and now you're firing the GM again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy. Like,
no, that's GMs, a poorly run franchise. If you can't you can't keep a consistent staff at the top, you're doing a lot of things wrong. You're making a lot of bad hires for one. Like, if you're making bad hires at the top, you're making bad hires on the field. You're making bad picks. Nothing is going right. And the Bears have been that way a long time. Like a long time, even at those Jay Cutler dominant defense fluke ass teams that they had, it's a bad organization.
We're going to move on to another bad organization. Doug Peterson was announced that he was terminated.
McGinnis, they've been a bad team. Who is?
Doug Peterson was fired this morning. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Peterson. Go with Peterson.
Yeah, Doug Peterson was fired this morning, which it comes to no surprise to anyone. Like, I don't know anybody who's actually surprised besides Doug Peterson. This is another one of those cases where you got somebody who runs a football program or organization and their focus is not football. And the only reason why I say this is because Shad Khan has been running the Jaguars for a little while now. But what made me realize that he's not football minded is when his son is doing kayfabe wrestling and he's still like the vice president of football operations or whatever his role is. I think that's what his role is. And then you as the owner are also doing kayfabe wrestling stuff. Like, football has to be on your mind when you're running a football organization. It has to be on your mind.
He's the owner. He doesn't run the team. He hires the people that runs the team. He has a whole nother business that he has to operate. He has an actual business. That's where he made the money from. Flying J Gas or whatever. Flying J something. That's where the Shakans made their money. And that's like the day job. Jacksonville's, if he were a good owner, he would have people in place that could run the organization. It's like Tony should have people in place running the fucking organization, but Tony wants all the fucking credit, and he wants to play with his toys. But that's different. I mean, Shad, there are worse owners in the NFL than Shad Khan.
Absolutely.
Jaguars have been average the past few seasons with Peterson. They haven't been bad.
No.
This season they were bad. They could and I'm pointing the blame mostly at that defense. So, I mean, a 115-point differential. That's bad. A minus 115. Like, they've given up 115 more points than they've allowed. You will never win. That's not all, Peterson. The decline, the regression of Trevor Lawrence, the lack of a solid run game. Those are Doug Peterson. Those are on Doug Peterson. I mean, the bright spot on Jacksonville this year was the rookie, Brian Thomas. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
I said that's it. The defense was ass. Trevor Lawrence looks like shit. To me, he looks like a bust. I'm ready to call him a bust because we've seen the best that he's got. And he's not going to take any major step forward from now till he's 35, 36 years old. He's just not. This is what I thought about.
what made me think about when you mentioned the defense. So it was like maybe a year or two ago when the defense was okay, when like the Jaguars were actually competing. And I think it wasn't Dan Camp. What was his name? It was a black guy, defensive coordinator. Was it Campbell? It was Campbell. Because I'm thinking my head's saying Dan Campbell, but it's not Dan Campbell. It was a black guy.
Caldwell?
Mike Caldwell. I don't know why I said Campbell. Words just not feeling me coming to me today. But Mike Caldwell, I'm not sure if they were fairly solid enough. But they fired him, and it's just like, yeah, it's not so much of whether he's doing a good job or not, and that's what it's not so much of a person doing a good job or not. It's the consistent transition of coordinators and staff. Like, I understand if these guys are moving to get head coaching positions like the Philadelphia Eagles, like they're probably going right back into another area situation where they're going to have to look for a new offensive coordinator this offseason. Like, I feel like that's just one of those things that's going to happen. But I feel like when it's so consistent where somebody has to keep changing and keep changing, it's going to hurt your team at some point. Because if you're switching from the 3-4 to the 4-3 to the 3-4 to the 4-3 to the 3-4 to 4-3 over and over, it's going to affect you at some point. So, yeah, the defense was a problem. And, yeah, they weren't that bad under Doug Peterson. But I think what Doug Peterson's problem is Doug Peterson won't get out of his own way. Not having a running game, that's just 100% Doug Peterson.
Yeah, like they got the pieces, so it doesn't even make sense. They have quality players at running back, so I don't understand.
Yeah, because I remember what was the last season he was with Philadelphia? It was a game where it was like 16% run, 84% pass, and when I saw that, and this is me, a receiver, somebody who's played receiver, I saw that and I was like, that is disgusting. Because I never thought that I'd ever see that. And it was like in the beginning of the game. Like
pro level, no.
Yeah, it's just disgusting to see.
They've seen some crazy ass games though. I mean, like there was that Patriots game where they've only passed it like 4 times and won. The weirdest shit.
Oh yeah, that was the snow, the blizzard game. That was crazy.
Yeah, the Jaguars before this season, last 2 seasons before, were 9-8 both years. So, I mean, that's acceptable. I mean, it's winning record. I mean, it's close. I mean, you're in playoff contention. They did make it to the playoffs in 22. So, I mean, I'm looking at Lawrence, the running game. They need a lot of pieces.
They do.
They need a lot of pieces, and they need a coach that can actually rally the troops. Peterson can run a good offense most years with a good quarterback, but it was time. He needed to go.
I think it's going to get fun. All right, so I agree with you 100%. I want to get to the last guy on our list. He was fired this year, just fired today. I'm 100% disagree with it. Jerod Mayo, New England Patriots fired Jerod Mayo. Now, before I go into it, Gronkowski, somebody who like I think is the most bonehead person I've ever heard. Like if you ever listen to him talk, it makes your head hurt.
I've seen the USAA commercial.
Oh my God, what are you talking about, dude? Why are you talking, dude? Shut up, dude. But the dude was about to go off. I don't know if you've seen it. He was talking about Robert Kraft firing Jerod Mayo. He was like mad. He was upset. They had to go to break because like Gronk was about to really go win, and I don't think you're allowed to do that.
I guess not. I mean, they wouldn't let Gronk do it, and they'll let Gronk do anything as long as there's a camera in his face.
So he was, Jerod Mayo, I don't think they gave that man a chance, and they were starting to look good. Like, I don't know, the way they started playing at some point, and chalk that up to the offensive coordinator, right? I'd say that might just be whoever's the offensive coordinator in New England, because Drake May started to look acceptable.
improved. Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like there's probably something there, and especially with Patriots don't really have many offensive weapons,
They have
and they
none.
were looking decent enough with Drake May. I feel like they might have set themselves back just a little bit by firing Gerard Mayo because Gerard Mayo probably kept some of the staff that he had with Belichick. I know Belichick probably took a lot of his guys with him, but there was a lot of holdovers from the Belichick era. So that means that there's some continuity where like guys are like, yeah, okay, I'm used to this, so it ain't that much change from Belichick to now. But I think they're probably gonna, and likely they'll probably hire somebody that's gonna completely change the identity of that Patriots offense, and it's like one of those things again. It's like that change. You got to give somebody enough time to gain rhythm, unless they're just shitty, unless they're Matt Eberflus. Like I feel like Matt Eberflus is the only guy I don't believe you should ever give the opportunity because he was just bad.
Patriots had the 7th best defense last season. Just putting that out there. And that was Belichick's last season, last year. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they had the 7th best last year. And where are they? Where did they finish this year? 2, 3, 6, 9, 11th. They had the 11th worst. So it was definitely a drop off.
Definitely a
from
drop
year
off.
to year.
And it's like one of those things that I'm like, I feel like it was when Gerard Mayo left that role. And that's just one of those things I feel like there's like it's like not a massive difference, but like there's a difference when like somebody is pulled from their focus. Like Gerard Mayo was the DC, I believe. When he moved from DC to head coach, there's like a difference because there's like a difference of identity to that defense. It's not the same defense because that defensive coordinator is going to bring their own thing in. So
what this
that could
came
be
down
it.
to. I mean, granted, it was not a good team. Bad O-line, bad run game.
Hell yeah.
Regardless of Ramondre Stevenson, they still had a bad run game and a rookie quarterback who was learning on the fly. The reason Mayo's gone, I could easily take it in another direction, being as it's Boston and Robert Kraft, and we know how Boston is. We all know, all fans know how Boston rolls. But what it comes down to is Kraft wants Mike Vrabel. That's all. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mayo could have went 13-4, and he might have still lost that job because they want Vrabel in there. Because Vrabel is one of their glory boys, from the glory days, and he fits the look, and he gives you the sound bites and all of that shit. But there's a reason why he is out there too, because he got fired. So, I mean, if you think Vrabel's coming in and he's going to be the one to turn you around, you're mistaken. He's not, but he had to look good to have another guy who knows the Patriot way and all of that bullshit. But that's going to be a whole lot of nothing. They're going to end up in the same fucking situation they're in now. And frankly, they should have just let Mayo stay, give him another year, give him some pieces to work with besides, what was it, Judon and Gonzalez?
Judon went to the Falcons too. I think they let him go. Crazy.
So they didn't have anything defensively. And you got a defensive coach, but you ain't got shit defensively. They gave up 30 points in 6 games, if I'm not mistaken, because the defense was just that bad. The offense was not helping, though. This was a bad team. That's why they were picking so low to begin with in the draft. A bad team ain't going to turn around overnight. He didn't lose the locker room, from what I understand. There were locker room issues, but he didn't lose the locker room. They didn't settle on they had quarterback issues. They had O-line issues. The team, Mayo needed another year. He needed another year. He might have needed 2 more years. They didn't give him a fair shot.
Yeah.
And I want to believe it's because Kraft wants Vrabel in there. Because otherwise I have to be looking at other reasons. So, I mean, otherwise, because it's not like, Mayo is probably not a bad coach. I mean, he wanted to be more of a player coach.
Mm-hmm.
When he called the team, then he called his players soft. So you want to piss off your team, call them soft. But it's not like they got worse after the fact because they wasn't doing it good to begin with. But if he's the coach that actually you're saying calling say soft, trying to light a fire under them, that's better than doing nothing, ain't it? I mean, that's at least trying something. Yeah. But you didn't give him shit to work with. You can't win if you ain't got no pieces.
Right.
Period. So, yeah, he needed a year. He needed some pieces. They needed to go out and try to buy some players because they're not going to do it through the draft overnight. And that's saying even though it's hard because Belichick's gone. Brady's gone. There's no real incentive for people to go play in New England at this point.
Agreed.
So they have to build through the draft, which means they're going to need somebody that's going to be there for a few years. You're going to be developing a younger team. You're going to need some consistency out of that coaching staff.
So bad.
Yeah, bad decision on Kraft's part. If they get Vrabel, that's not going to move the needle that much. Maybe in Boston, they're like, yeah, but it's not on the field, and not in the stadium. It's not going to make that much of a difference.
Sounds good to me. We got some coaches on the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
Mike McCarthy, Antonio Pierce, and Kevin Stefanski.
Pierce is sticking around.
Pierce is likely going to stick around. I'm hearing rumbles that Stefanski might be sticking around. And if that's the case, I feel like Cleveland is 100% just hell-bent on just being horrible. Because they decided that
I wouldn't fire Stefanski. Deshaun Watson's not his fault.
No, at all. No, here's the reason why I would fire Stefanski. It's not because of what he's doing.
Right.
It's the way he handled the Deshaun Watson decision.
Yeah.
When he wanted to go for it on fourth down and Deshaun Watson walked off the field and he was telling Deshaun.
I've heard there were circumstances to that. It wasn't just him walking off the field. It was
I understand that, but it just looked bad.
But everybody understood.
Yeah, it's just the optics behind it because it's like the optics behind it. Because there may be other circumstances, but the optics just look bad. And once the optics look bad, it could be anything. But 100% the reason why I think that they'll fire him is when he spoke out. When he came out his mouth and said Deshaun Watson will be our starting quarterback next year. That was when I was just like, you're committing to a guy who's done nothing for you. Like, since you got here. It's like, I understand the money.
The team invested so much in him. The owner was probably holding him to it. That he had to play Watson. Until, you see how that turned out. He had to blow his knee out to get off the field. Maybe that was upstairs forcing that on him. I mean, but the man, how many quarterbacks did he have this season? 4? 3 or 4? At least 3? And he pulled a fucking miracle with this team because that was
absolutely
not a great season, not a great situation. But Watson out there stinking it up for after season, then you got to bring in Winston, who most of us were calling for Winston from like week 3 because we could see what was happening. And we knew at least you'd have a fighting chance with a quarterback that was actually going to try.
Yeah.
I mean, Watson was clearly, they say he doesn't want to play in any system but the one he played in college. And that's the only one he's had success in the pros. So that being said, if they knew that going in, they never should have brought him in the first place. Bringing in Deshaun Watson should have got the GM fired if anybody needs to go in Cleveland. That should have been up to get the GM the fuck out of there because that was foolish as fuck.
Yeah.
Like you saw his best and you saw that was a few seasons before you picked him up. You don't have the infrastructure to push somebody to be their best. Every quarterback that plays for you definitely plays worse than they're capable of. We've all seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Stefanski didn't deserve to be shouldn't get fired. It's not on him. He's making fucking ice cream out of shit. Basically,
I'll say this. I'm going to go a whole different direction. I think he should be fired. Not because he's a bad coach, because he deserves to be coaching a better team. He needs a better situation, because I hate to see, because we know what he did in Minnesota. I really hate to see what got him hired and him having to sit here and he's like, this is what I have to deal with. I can't do anything with this.
Because coaches just want to take the first job that's offered to them. Like it's a shitty team. Like, but yeah, I'm going to be the new head coach of the Bears. Why? Why are you going to ruin your career straight out the gate? Why are you going to fuck up your reputation immediately by going to coach with a bad team, with a bad front office? Like, why are you putting yourself through that on purpose? There's certain teams around the league, and we all know these teams. They are consistently bad because they're consistently badly run. You shouldn't go to these teams if you expect to succeed, because Detroit's the fucking exception to the rule. When you look at teams with poor histories, like Detroit's on this run that they've been on since Bobby Lane was there.
Yeah.
So, and that was our parents weren't alive. It's been that fucking long for the Lions. But they're having a good run now. This will last a few years, and then it'll be like the Patriots post Brady, back to the toilet.
I think you got like 2 years before that happened. How old is Goff? 36? 35?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays a little later, but yeah, the decline will probably come sooner than later. He won't be one of them quarterbacks in his 40s. No.
It's just lucky he got a good running game.
Yeah.
He got a good running game. Take that pressure off him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's called good drafting, good developing. That's what organizations invest in.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into Antonio Pierce because it's another guy we both agree that will probably still be there. He's on the hot seat, but he's on the hot seat just for the optics, because I don't think that Antonio Pierce got the opportunity to really, I feel like his GM didn't do him any favors. Like, you really didn't go after, try to get him what they really needed, which was a quarterback. They tried to go with Gardner Minshew, which was baffling. That's just something you don't do. That's like, going to a rehab and asking for cocaine. You just don't do that.
Cocaine?
It's like it's like leaving rehab. You just like have like your 10th year of rehab and you go celebrate at the bar. That's not what you do. So I think this is actually 100% on. I think Pierce deserves another year, just like Mayo. Mayo deserved another year. Pierce definitely deserves another year. You got to get that man a quarterback.
Like they're not going to be shit without a quarterback until they get a quarterback. Like, it's like you're expecting some of these teams to be successful. The Patriots just found their quarterback. The Saints might still be looking. The Jaguars are going to be looking soon. So, I mean, these teams, and the Jets are trying to decide are hoping that Aaron Rodgers comes back. That's the situation they're in. So, yeah, a lot of these teams have bad quarterback situations or young quarterback situations.
The only team that can probably afford to not go out and get a quarterback and have to just deal with what they have is the Browns. That's because they spent so much money on Deshaun Watson that they probably couldn't afford to bring a quarterback in.
They got to hope with him another year. They just renegotiated his deal or something to free up some money.
What I'll advise that the Raiders don't do is don't try to get Sam Darnold, because there's no way you can duplicate what he's doing in Minnesota if you like try to trade Minnesota, because you can't duplicate that. It's not going to happen that way. You tried that way, it's not going to happen. I just don't see it. But what I will say is, yeah, 100%. Antonio Pierce should stay. Give him a quarterback, because if you don't give him a quarterback, it's just like giving him a fork and telling him to eat cereal. I got analogies for days.
I guess so.
The final quarterback coach on our list is Mike McCarthy. This is weird. Dallas is just bad this year. I mean, I know we talk our shit and we always saying Dallas sucked, but like they sucked. They sucked.
Yeah,
they sucked.
Well,
and what's
they
crazy
had,
to me,
like almost no run game this year until like damn near the end of the last 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks or so, when Rico Dotto really took control of it, or seized the position, the starter. But
he woke up.
Yeah, I mean the secondary went backwards in Dallas. Losing Micah Parsons affected a lot of the defensive play for a couple weeks, but they still have most of the same pieces they've had. They're going to have to make some choices for financial reasons. Somebody's going to have to move or get a contract readjusted or something because they got money issues. They got an idiot running the team. So, like an overhead running the team wants every damn position and doesn't want to make any changes to the formula, even though it ain't working. Because what do you say? I didn't buy this as an investment. I bought this as an occupation. So basically, he's saying he's going to continue to be the GM, buying the groceries for the team, even though he doesn't know. He doesn't read the recipes. He doesn't look at the back of the fucking thing where it has all the ingredients and shit. He doesn't know that stuff. But he wants to buy the groceries. So he's going to get you a bunch of expired goods, a bunch of rotten goods, and a bunch of shit like that. So, stuff that'll be all sweet as hell, but bad for your stomach. That's the type of stuff he'll pick up. They draft well, and that's the only thing that's been keeping them from being even worse of an organization is that they've hit on a few drafts. Because they could be so much worse off if they, say, missed out on a Micah Parsons or pick somebody else over CD. They'd be so much worse off. They just hit a couple times, and it made them look better than they were for a few years. Like you had to rise at the round and a couple years ago, but all in all, he's an offensive guy. Did the offense look good? No, it's a question. Did the offense look good this season?
No.
Well, then he failed at his job.
Mike McCarthy?
Yeah. You give him, they gave him weapons. Like they've given him weapons. There have been years where he's had solid receiving core and still nothing. They blame Dak. They blame Jerry. It's a group thing. It's everybody. It's the organization. Because as long as the man up top is running it, they're going to have issues. He don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Well, it was reported earlier. I believe it was Schefter that said it. I think it was Schefter that said it, that the Bears have requested permission from the Cowboys to interview Mike McCarthy for the head coaching position.
That would be a Bears thing to do. Yeah, that would be a Bears thing to do.
He hasn't even been fired yet.
If I was Jerry, I'd be like, "You want to go? Want to go? Go right on. Go. Right out that door. Go ahead." Yeah.
So this is going to spark the next segment of the show before we close it out.
I'm gonna take my horse down Old Town Road, right to the Candle Wall. I'm Jared Jones. Of the like mixed with Yoda.
of the vacant coaching positions, let's include Dallas. The 6 vacancies at head coach. I want to play matchmaker.
Okay.
So first, we're gonna go with the Jets. Who is your guy you think will be the best fit and the worst fit for the Jets?
Brady. Joe Brady. to the Jets.
Best? You think that's the best fit or worst?
Because he's already in the Bills, so he'd be familiar with what they have, what they do, because he's seen them a couple times a year.
Okay.
And he's a college dude. He cut his team in college, LSU, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been in the NFL a few years. Damn near got Josh Allen an MVP award. The Jets are really just a good quarterback away, a consistent quarterback away, a quarterback who isn't up his own ass away. But less of an ego. Confident, but less of an ego. That doesn't just want to be the center of attention, wants to disappear on a team and then blame the team for bad chemistry. No. If they get a better quarterback in there. So I got a few of them here, and I feel like any of them could succeed with what they actually have over there, especially if they keep Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got Joe Brady. I'm just going to go with Joe Brady because he's the most familiar.
Okay. I like that pick. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. I like that pick.
Who you got? Who would you
have? Eric Bieniemy. I noticed it's going outside, but I feel like I want Bieniemy to get an opportunity. I felt like Eric Bieniemy could probably cater to that run game a little bit because 9 times out of 10 there'll still be Aaron Rodgers. But I feel like that's going to be the worst. That you can throw that into the worst position, and because I feel like
if it's Aaron Rodgers, you want a veteran in there. Definitely want a veteran OC.
Yeah, and I feel like whoever you bring
first timers.
Yeah, whoever comes in there with Aaron Rodgers is gonna clash with him unless it's a personal pick of Aaron Rodgers. I feel like Bieniemy and Aaron are gonna clash immediately. So I feel like that would be the worst possible.
Bieniemy's tough on players. Rodgers doesn't like anybody to be tough on him.
Yeah. So I don't really have a best pick for. I don't have a best pick for the Jets. It's going to be bad regardless.
Okay.
Who's next? It was Saints.
Saints need offensive help badly. Bobby Slowick.
Texans. Offense.
I don't know. He made that rookie look good. I mean, he's not a rookie anymore. Stroud. Stroud's had a little step back, but that offense is still dangerous.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is due to Bobby Slowick. His schematics, calls, and everything. He's a good play caller. He's a good developer. Yeah, that's what they need. They need a change at quarterback. They just picked up, what's the name? Rattler. Right, we're talking about the Saints, right? So they just picked up Rattler, so they need somebody to boost him up. Bring in Slowick.
I'm going to go with
more.
I'm going to do something I don't usually agree with. I feel like when you're bad, you don't just bring up somebody, but I'm going to go with Kubiak. I think Kubiak, just to give, if you're going to stick with the quarterback that you got there right now, don't change his coordinator. Give him, or not necessarily don't change his coordinator, but don't change the guy that's going to be calling his plays. I think Kubiak should go up just for the sake of continuity.
Okay.
I
like it.
The Bears. Who's your coach for the Bears?
I wouldn't put that on anyone. I wouldn't wish this shit on anyone. So, I mean, McCarthy. I mean, if it's going to be like a cast off, McCarthy or Peterson.
That was my pick. It was Peterson. Peterson was my pick. Yeah, I got Peterson. Yeah. But I feel like if it's Peterson, Caleb Williams is going to be gone within a year.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like Peterson will be gone before Caleb is. But you know their routine. They bring a guy in, and then the quarterback's gone. Then they bring in a new quarterback. Then they bring in a new coach. Then the old quarterback's gone. So yeah, it could happen again.
I'm gonna tell you what I think is the problem, and this is what I think might be the problem with Doug Peterson, is his undying commitment and Press Taylor. Like he's dragged that boy everywhere he went. He's gonna the next position he take, he's gonna drag Press Taylor with him. Like Press Taylor was supposed to be one of the up and coming OCs, and Doug Peterson is shit. Doug Peterson is shitting down that man's throat with his decision making. Like you're fucking this man up. So yeah,
but they love hyping up people as quarterback gurus before they even show it. So we still have yet to see that from Press Taylor.
So for the Bears, we got McCarthy and Peterson. They don't really have a good possibility. Like you need to completely change the GM before I can start speaking positively here.
Yes.
Fucking Ryan Poles.
Yes. Ryan licks
who else?
Poles.
Jaguars. Who's your guy for Jacksonville Jaguars?
You know what? I'm just guessing here, obviously, but I'm gonna say Aaron Glenn.
Ooh,
just because I want to see him. I want to see him as a head coach bad. I feel like he can pull it off. Maybe they got to give him more rope than boy got in New England, but it's like not every team can got to be like that with the coaches. But yes, send him to Jacksonville. He can perform miracles down there. I believe. I believe he can turn that team around. He's the one. I mean, he fixed the Lions defense.
Yeah.
No. If he can do anything close to what he's done in Detroit, that's team can win your division. So as bad as the division.
And I can see him bringing in whoever's the quarterback coach in Detroit, because Goff was just, when they made the trade, Stafford Goff, when they made that trade, Goff wasn't supposed to be in the trade. They just added him for more pick depth, to get that pick. They were giving up.
Well, they needed a quarterback too. That was also part of it. They were going to need a quarterback to replace Stafford.
So they was just like, just give us Goff, and now he's like franchise guy, like complete revitalization. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
he completely revitalized his career.
It takes a few years for quarterbacks to really master the position.
Yeah.
Because they don't coach them the way they used to. They don't develop them the way they used to. So it takes a few years for the brains to catch up.
Yeah.
The eyes and the arm.
So. But I'll go as far as to say that I wasn't 100% convinced that Goff was bad. Because he made it to the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't go as far as to say Goff was bad. He just that was the most boring Super Bowl I've ever seen in my life.
No, he just couldn't run it at the level that they wanted a quarterback to.
Yeah.
And I guess that means you can just go trade with another team somehow. Or you can
swap. I'd say Aaron Glenn comes in, head coach, and he brings Detroit's QB's coach. And with him, somebody's got to come in there and help Trevor Lawrence develop before it's too late for him.
The miracle worker. That's what that's called. Well, they need a miracle.
Because you ready to call him a bust, and I would hate to see that. But I mean, if he's busting, he's gonna bust.
What's his face? Sunshine. Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He needs somebody to help figure him out. Especially this the guy that, before he got drafted, said, "I don't need football. I'm good."
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like. That's the reason I never really liked Trevor Lawrence, because I hate to hear somebody say that right before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need football.
And football
That's
doesn't
just-
need you either.
Yeah.
You definitely need the game more than the game needs you.
Yes. And wait, we still got 2 more. New England. Who is the coach?
Mike
we
Vrabel.
already know. Yeah,
It's
we already
Vrabel.
know that.
They just gonna like they're going head first and screwing up. So
Yeah.
idiots.
Hey, listen, wasn't Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback when Vrabel was there?
Mm-hmm.
So he already know how to use it. Oh, he not gonna have. Brissett's gonna be out of the league in like a year.
No, he's one of those backups that it seems still believe in for some reason. Like you can go out there and throw 4 interceptions as a backup, and you'll still like that would be the only play you get that season, and somehow you'll have another job next season. Whether you were just piss poor the season before, but they'll still have another job because they believe you can hold the clipboard so fucking well, and you'll be ready when it's time to come in, and you won't lose them the game, even though that's what you do.
But you
Just
know,
lose
and that's weird to me because we all saw. I know this because I had him starting on my fantasy team almost the whole year last year. Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs did some shit that I ain't like. He's somebody I did not expect to at least do anything. His jersey numbers were selling like crazy
right.
last year, and he's not even on a team this year.
Isn't he? He's
I don't
somewhere.
think so.
He's definitely
I would
somewhere.
hope.
I swear I heard his name like last week. This week even. Hold on. Josh Dobbs. He is on the 49ers.
Okay. Did he get an opportunity this year? Because like,
Pretty sure he did. I know I heard his name earlier this season.
because when you got teams like the Raiders who don't have a quarterback and the Browns, now the Browns had Josh Dobbs. I wouldn't wish him to go back there.
Neither would
Josh
he.
Dobbs was a Steeler. I feel like Josh Dobbs is definitely a better backup than Jacoby Brissett. I think Trey Lance is a better backup than Jacoby Brissett.
No.
I don't give up. I haven't given up on Trey Lance. I just don't think he knows how to throw a football. I feel like Trey Lance might have some arm talent. He just doesn't know how to throw a football. That's what I think. I don't think he knows how to throw a football.
Trey Lance is a bust. He was living up the hype of 1 year where he didn't throw an interception in Division II. Okay? So he had lower he was successful, like very successful against lower competition.
I blame Carson Wentz.
Okay. Then they had the COVID year. So he only played, 1 game, threw a couple passes, didn't get to develop any after that one good year he had. He didn't get to any development after that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's underdeveloped coming in. And he went to a win now team, a team that was looking to win immediately. They didn't have time to sit and develop him, especially if he was already underdeveloped compared to other quarterbacks, because he didn't play as much and he played against lesser competition. So he came in like from a worse start. So he's never going to get there.
Yeah.
So for one, he's going to have to put the work in to get there. And if he hasn't shown any improvement at this point, then he's probably not putting in the work now.
Yeah.
So he won't put the work in. So we can just go ahead, take his contract, rip it up, put it through the shredder along with him. And just be done with that.
All right. So I got one more team. Even though it's not official, we already sent them somewhere else. He's got a new job now, so they need a coach. Dallas Cowboys. Who's your pick for their new head coach?
Going to need somebody that that Jerry can move around, can control. So Kellen Moore.
I'm gonna disagree. I think Kellen Moore won't go back there.
I think it'll be a defensive guy, really, but I just can't think of one that's willing to put themselves through that.
Yeah,
Jesse
I was thinking,
but that would
Harris.
be cool. Maybe.
Yeah, he's their current defensive coordinator. No, it's not. He's their DB's coach. He's not getting Jesus.
I mean, I definitely would say that it would be a veteran. Like
It'll probably be if they go defensive coach, they go veteran. Probably be Zimmer.
Yeah, it could be somebody like that.
Coach there. If they don't, because if they're not actively looking to fire McCarthy, but McCarthy leaves, they'll probably look to stick with what they have. They'll probably just promote Zimmer, which would.
I'm gonna go outside the box. Saleh. They're gonna bring it. Saleh.
Ooh.
I'm steeping my tea and making.
So if you go defense, you say Saleh. Now,
Yeah.
when you go offense, who you bringing in?
If I was them, I would want Moore because Moore they're familiar with Moore, but Moore probably wouldn't want to do that. So, like, who's the OC of Minnesota? Oh, I said Wes Phillips. Okay. I don't know. I don't know who Dallas would take because I don't know who would be willing to tolerate him. Cliff Kingsbury, I like that.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. I feel like Ben Johnson's going to be another one. He's going to end up right back in Detroit again next year.
I hope so. Because I don't want him to end up somewhere shitty.
Yeah, I don't think Ben Johnson would go to Dallas. Because I think one of the things is I don't think anybody really wants to compete against the Eagles twice a year. That's just not fun.
At this point, no. Not looking at where they're at roster-wise, no.
It's just not fun. You don't want to be a defensive coordinator having to compete with them twice a year. And you don't want to be an offensive coordinator having to compete with that defense twice a year. And I know that's kind of tooting the Eagles' horn, but like,
just from this show, not on this show.
Yeah, like, but just from like just being 100% objective, like, I don't think any coordinator, any coaches really want to compete with the Eagles twice a year. So, like, if you're somebody that's trying to come in and get like, you're trying to get your first start, you don't want to get your start. You want to be a veteran coming in here. Like Dable, you got screwed over, dude, because you came to the Giants. They thought you was going to turn Danny Jones around. And now everything that you thought was going to happen is not happening. And now you lost your best player to a team. You lost your best player and you got to play him twice a year. And he cooked you. He would have cooked you again.
This Eagles team is going to be mostly intact for a couple of years. I mean, they could lose Sweat, they could lose Zach Bond, they could lose Mekhi Becton and Milton Williams, but otherwise, not really. They're not really losing anything major.
Yeah, them rooks.
So they'll be like this team will be strong for a couple of years and getting stronger.
I can't say the same about Dallas.
No, Dallas needs a lot. As the way that secondary went backwards, and Dallas needs a lot of work.
Big time.
But as long as Jerry's running the operation, you can't really trust them. You can trust that they'll be somewhere in the mix because the media will keep hyping them up. Yeah. But when it really comes down to it, it'll be like most every Dallas year. They talk them up. They talk a good game about them, but the Cowboys choke.
You know what? For the sake of trolling, because I like to troll, I got a really good pick.
Was this whole episode not you trolling?
My pick for the Dallas Cowboys head coaching position, Skip Bayless.
Well, what else is he going to do? I mean, I don't even know that he's a fan anymore. The way he be talking, he's like an Eagles fan now. When he kissing their asses. But he's got other shit to deal with now. He got sued.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Offered a woman $1.5 million for one one fuck, and it's like,
yeah.
I posted it on the page. Someone said she might be making it up, and I'm in the middle. Like, I could see where she'd be making it up because women lie. But
Yeah.
I mean, what woman would turn out $1.5 million? I mean, granted, it's Skip Bayless and he's like 100, but it's
women have
$1.5
done
million.
worse.
Yeah, $1.5 million before taxes. So
yeah,
that's a come up.
Yeah,
I mean, you ain't got to tell nobody how you made it. We don't need to know.
Exactly.
Then you went and had to snitch on everybody else, put Joy Taylor's business out there, and none of that.
And speaking of that whole Joy Taylor situation, when I heard about it, my mind immediately went to, because I'm just, just the kind of the way I grew up. Why the fuck is that y'all business? Like, who cares who she smashed to get ahead in her career? Half y'all motherfuckers
snitching on people in that fucking lawsuit. Like, this situation had nothing to do with your situation, lady. Like, you're suing because you were hit on and you rejected it and you felt uncomfortable. What the hell does that have to do with Joy?
She mad because she got hit on by an old decrepit dude.
Well, she got hit on by the boss too, the same one that Joy was running around with.
Hey, listen.
You hit on her too. Just the Skip part stood out, but
some people just gotta, either take it or you leave it. But don't try to ruin nobody else's situation.
Right, fucked up everybody's position. Now you got
Joy Taylor. Because this all Joy Taylor got to do is make her nice little comeback. I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened.
No, I don't think she gets to make a comeback. Because did you read that shit? She had a whole plan in place that she was going to flip on the dude and make accusations that he tried to do stuff to her. The owner, like the boss, their boss, Joy was going to flip the script on him. And if he did something she didn't like, she was going to put it out there that he raped her. That was her plan. That was her fucking plan.
I guess
she was fucking this dude while married. Well, he was married also as well. And if they got in trouble, she was going to say he forced himself on her. That's the type of person Joy Taylor is. She don't get a pass in this shit. Yes, it wasn't their business to be put out there. But the fact that that's the mindset this woman has makes her a danger. Especially working around all these successful young men. She's a danger. Because she's going to set someone up and drag them down, ruin their reputation, possibly send them to jail. Because she can't be trusted. She should be I don't want her on my TV anymore. I don't trust her ass. I already didn't trust her takes. I didn't trust shit that came out of her mouth because I know she didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. But now we know she's a scumbag.
Now she's on the same. Now she's in the same boat as Malika Andrews.
Mm-hmm. She's a succubus.
Yeah.
So
now
she's not
just praying.
She's not exempt from persecution in this shit.
And now I'm a little bit scared because we got Taylor Rooks still in there.
Ugh.
So let's hope that Taylor Rooks is not a crook.
Yes, it's not anyone's business who they're fucking. But when you're plotting on people and you're saying you're going to get them in trouble and accuse them of rape and all this shit, like no. Now you're that's scumbag shit.
Yeah, that's scumbag shit.
Not like scumbag like Nick Sirianni scumbag. That's our scumbag. She's just a bad person. Yeah. She's a fucking chupacabra. She's a goat sucker.
That's all we have for today, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, I have one more thing to say on that matter.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I really want to know what his fingers smell like. But that's just me and like 90% of men.
Yeah. And in that situation, I would say on to you. If someone offers you 1.5, are you going to take it? Let us know in the comments. And I say, we can't all be starters, but 1.5 million would be really nice. So Boulevard, tell all the haters. Well, tell everybody what they can do, because you're the only one that know how to tell them.
Where Joy Taylor's coochie goes is not my business. It does make for good drama, though. It does make for good drama, and I love good drama. That said, hit the bench.